Sorry, that was old. That was
Okay,
from when I was
so
still trying to get in, but here I am.
so here we are. Let's see. What does well, I don't have what Kelly. Can you see everything good?
Yeah, I can see that really good.
All
I
right. So
can
you
see
see
it.
both of us, right?
I can see both of you and your little awards, your little Gary.
What do they say? Oh wait, other corner. What do they
Another
say
quick.
on them,
Yes,
Robert?
They say Golden Gary.
they say the
Oh,
Golden
really?
Gary.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yay.
So welcome everyone. I don't know why Alana and I have emojis on our faces, but
It
uh,
very well explains how we are just in everyday life. I'm always like,
we're here. It is now 3 o'clock, and today we're doing something a little different for the Command 301. Normally, it's just this ugly mug staring at you, but today we've got Alana Goofy Face and Robert Goofy Face, and so we're going to be talking about marketing today, but from a different perspective. A lot of times when we talk about marketing in this particular class, we talk about it very kind of straightforward, like, okay, this is what you do, this is what you do. But over the past couple of weeks, I've noticed that there's been a little bit of a dialogue change, and been a little bit of, not, I don't want to call it confusion, because it's not confusion. It's just a diverse set of tools in command, and sometimes it can be a little bit daunting to try and figure out which tool is the best that you're trying to, for the product or for the thing that you're trying to do. Specific example: if you're creating a smart plan and you want to put together an email for that smart plan, you're going to need to build a design to put into that email in your smart plan. Well, where do you build that design? Do you build it in the design editor for a graphic and make it, well, there's the picture? Do you build it in the email side? Where can you build these designs, and which are the right designs to use for the right campaigns? That's the crux of what we're going to be talking about today. So it's going to be all over the place. We're going to have a conversation with the incredible Alana Babineau here. She is with us. They're our marketing and design specialist. And she is in, oh, you're in the penthouse suite today. Look at that. You're over there in
I
you got the
am.
big room.
I do. All this natural light, although it's really cold in here today. Usually, well, when the sun's out, it's typically like a sauna in here. Um, but definitely not today. My hands are cold.
It's a cold one. It was 7 degrees this morning when I got up, and that did not make the dogs happy. It was a quick
Yeah,
trip outside.
yeah, I was not happy. And smart Alana didn't warm up her car this morning, so it was a little chilly
So
on
did
the
you have
way
to
to
walk?
work. Yeah. I had to walk to work because I didn't warm up my car. Yeah. If
I'm
only
not
you saw the shoes I'm wearing, Robert.
I'm ready. I'm ready for
Anyways, so let's kick off March Marketing
yeah, that's
Madness.
the
So
thing
excited.
is, it's March
Yeah.
marketing mayhem madness macchiatos. So,
And throw a margarita in there.
hey, did you know that the reason that an Americano is called an Americano is because in the World War II, I think it was, when Americans were in Italy, they couldn't take the coffee in Italy. They couldn't drink it because it was so strong. And so the Italians watered down the
No.
coffee and they called it
And
Americanos.
that is so funny. Oh my
That's
gosh, I just
why
learned something.
an
That's
espresso watered
awesome.
down,
Yeah, it's an Americano.
it's Americano.
Wow,
It
that's
makes
so
total
cool.
sense
It
when you
does. Yeah, I mean,
when you think
for
about it.
wimps. Anyways,
What do you mean anyways? This is good stuff.
it is really good stuff. Yeah.
So we got more people joining in on the Zoom room, which is good that we haven't really gotten like 100% rolling yet. But so a couple things as we get going here. We're going to be starting to talk about all the neat things that are happening in the design area of the world here. But remember that in the corners, this little guy right here. I know we got to get it right. That little guy right there, that's the Golden Gary. I don't know if you guys have seen these, but the Golden Garys are tomorrow night, 4:30 p.m.
Nope.
Right?
Nope. Nope.
No,
No.
wait, Thursday.
No.
Thank you.
Thursday. They
Thank
are
you.
not tomorrow.
Thank you.
Do not go to colortv.com tomorrow.
Don't do that.
You'll be very lonely for the
You'll
awards
be-
ceremony.
and it will be a very quiet award ceremony. Uh, the Golden Garys are Thursday at 4:30 p.m. and we're excited because you got the design specialist here who's been working her tail off to get all the designs ready for all of your social media, for all of the winners, all of the awesome graphics. So tomorrow, or Thursday, is the Golden Garys, and these little guys right here, off my shoulder here, they're going to be featured very prominently for the evening. So we're excited about that, and make sure you attend that Keller TV 4:30. You can join early on Thursday. We just had our meeting to kind of finalize the last steps. Come in a little bit early and get yourself seated and get a good spot because it's going to be fun.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're going to share the screen now. And well, actually, you know what? Before we share the screen, you have a little bit of a thing to get off your chest in terms of this conversation. What do you got to say?
I have something to get off my chest.
You said you had some things to talk about.
Oh, like some notes? Oh,
Yeah.
gosh.
Yeah. I mean,
There's
it's
a
all
reason
part of the
why
whole
that emoji
training
right
thing.
there is explaining my name. Anyways, gosh, my life. Anyway, well, no, I mean, basically what I just wanted to help you guys understand, especially with this conversation that we're about to have, is there is a reason why we are talking about this. And like Robert said, a lot of you guys have been asking for it specifically in terms of how do I do XYZ, but then also from the design point, you need to know, what size images should I use for social media? What size images work inside of an email campaign? I get that one quite often.
Should I write this down? Size.
It might be a really good idea to,
Okay.
write down some of the things I'm about to say because I
Yeah.
might be giving you some real numbers that are
Yeah.
very important.
We're gonna do
And then
that.
the last thing that I'll touch on, and Robert, it'd be great if we can also show this when we share our screen, but I would really like to show the way in which you set up your design for the direct mailings. Because I've had a lot of people tell me, Alana, it's telling me it's not the right size, and I really need to send out these postcards and start farming these areas. And you do need to have something very specific in order for Command to take that design to print it. So we will also be talking about that. But let's go ahead, Robert, and let's share your screen because it's going to be extremely helpful to see the visuals while we are talking about it as well. And
Okay.
everyone who's coming in right now, make sure that you've got a pen and a paper because I will be giving you, specific tools, numbers, sizing, things you need to know for
Absolutely.
designs.
All right. So let me just double check that everybody on. Okay. So you guys on Zoom, you can see the shared screen here, correct? All right. Good. All right. So what we're looking at right now is obviously the dashboard. We're starting off here. But what we're going to take a look at to start off with is we want to understand the areas that we're going to be focusing on. So when we go into all of these discussions that we're about to have, we need to know where these things are. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come over here to the top left-hand corner and I'm going to click the red KW, and I'm bringing up the menu on the left-hand side to point out the areas that we'll be focusing on. So there are three main areas where we deal with, we'll call it marketing, just as a broad term. And as we get into this deeper and more focused, you'll see that the term itself is going to kind of pare it down. We're going to look at specific areas of this. But in the terms of marketing, we're really talking about the smart plans in Command. We're talking about the campaigns in Command and the designs in Command. And to a lesser degree, and I don't mean it by any means it's a lesser thing, but to a lesser degree, we'll not be focusing on this today, but the consumer area is also heavily involved with marketing. It's part of the marketing aspect. And as a matter of fact, some of the designs that you create, you can use in the consumer area if you wish, because you can use these things inside of your landing pages and other areas that you build for your consumer applet. But the three main areas that we're focused on are smart plans, campaigns, and designs. And so let's explain these areas so that we understand what's in there, and we'll start to by going into. I think we'll start with smart plans because it's the first one on the list, and it can sometimes be the one that's a little bit more confusing. So smart plans in terms of Keller Williams command essentially is drip campaigns. All right. These are campaigns that you run over time. Now, you notice that I'm using the word campaigns because we're talking about a marketing campaign, but you have multiple touches over time. So the goal with a smart plan is to drip the information out over time. But we don't want to manage these drip campaigns manually. Every week on Monday morning, we got to be sure to send out the next campaign stage, which is an email, and then wait 3 days, and then we have to make sure we come back into command and send out another email or a text message or whatever it is that we're doing. The drip campaigns that we create in the smart plans area are automated, which means we set up these these marketing blasts. We set them up in advance and we trigger them through a variety of different ways. All right. So we automate this marketing process. So in that process, we have things that we can do. The one that we're going to be focusing on here today is emails. Emails are a core element of smart plans. And because of that, it ties into what we're talking about today. Now, the next area that we're going to be focusing on here for this discussion is campaigns themselves. There is a fundamental difference between campaigns and smart plans, and it is this. Smart plans are designed to be multi-touch, meaning the drip part of it. Send out something, wait a period of time, send out something else. Campaigns, on the other hand, are generally thought of as a one-time thing, where we send out a marketing campaign or a campaign that goes out and it is one email that we send out this week. A good example of this would be an open house coming up this weekend. We send out an email campaign to inform people about this upcoming open house. Great. After this weekend, that campaign has concluded. So generally speaking, campaigns are one-off. Now, I don't mean it to be exclusive, but it helps you differentiate between a smart plan and a campaign. All right. So those two elements are the outbound part of the marketing in command. They're the things that go out the door, so to speak. The things that we send out the door are the designs. And the designs are the graphic elements, the text elements, the assets that we put together to put into campaigns or put into smart plans. And when we talk about this, we need to understand what kind of designs go with what kind of marketing plans. And that's where some of the confusion can come in. So having said that, we're going to come down here now. We're going to start at the design level. And I'm going to have Alana walk us through really briefly here what we're seeing and to give us an idea of what to think about as we approach our designs for our different campaigns.
Absolutely. So what you're seeing here is, of course, the dashboard for the designs. So specifically, what Robert's done is he's created a few. So these are his most recent designs that he's created. Now, if you wanted to just easily access one of the ones you've recently created, you can double click on it from here and it'll bring you then to the design portal. But let's say you wanted to create something brand new. In that case, you would then want to go up to that create design. And it's going to come up with this pop-up. Now, a lot of people get very overwhelmed here. They're like, well, I need to create a design, but I don't know, like, what is it for? Is it for the email? I do want to send a graphic in an email. So let's break it down. So let's break it down now, y'all. Okay. The email is very specifically for emails, for email campaigns. And so once you click on it, it's going to bring you to a new portal that is still obviously going to be in the designs, but this pulls up all of the email templates that Command has already created for you, where you can then go in and just edit the images, edit the text, and add in anything if you so desire. But if you wanted to, oh, Robert?
Well, I was going to say let's attack that for a moment because you'll notice that these templates, as Alana has told you, they don't have preview images. And the templates themselves, there are 72 that are currently available. And let's be honest with them, Alana. These are difficult because at best, if you wanted to take a look at one, you have to open it in the editor, inspect it, and make a determination if it's right for you. The problem is if you want to see the 72 different ones, get a pot of coffee and prepare for a few minutes of exploring because we can't see previews. So it's hard to know what these look like in comparison to each other. Like, what's the difference between Modern Newsletter A and Modern Newsletter B? Well, you have to open them to find out. That's a pain in the butt. And because of that, more often than not, we're not using these templates because we just don't know what's in there, and it's not a real good experience to try and go find them. So now what Alana's talking about here is, let's say that we want to create a new one because you're going to want to make something look the way you want it to look. Back to Alana.
Exactly. So in the case that you do want to create a new one, there's that beautiful blue. Have we decided is that blue turquoise?
I don't know what color that is.
I always have a tough time putting my finger on what color that is. I'm going to do my research.
You know what? I would love to know what Pantone calls that.
Yes, like I said, I'm going to do my research. We're going to find a name for it.
We're going to find
it. So you are going to want to click on that start from blank. And then what it's going to do is it's going to pull up the design portal, and you see the widgets there on the right. So those are all the elements that you can add into the email. And then that blank screen is where you'll see the sample of the email as you are building it out. So, I mean, just for fun, Robert, let's drop an image and a text, and let's say one of our legal footers, because we need that every time that we create an email. Awesome. So let's just do that for right now, and the header.
Lovely. Are these images that you've downloaded, or are these just available? These are your own images that you downloaded, right?
Great question, Kelly. What I just clicked on, when I'll pull that back in so you can see what, because I went fast there. When I grabbed the image widget and I dragged it out, I was presented with a dialog box that said select an image. And in here, I have my images, and these effectively are images that I have uploaded to Command and I am currently storing in the Command database. I have listing images where I can search for a property address to pull the listing images from. And then I can also add images from my hard drive by dragging and dropping them here. So effectively we have two. We have images that you store, you can upload them from here, or images that you get from listings, and you can do the MLS search here for a listing image. There are no preset images in this dialog for uploading an image. But your question really centered around images that you made. And that's why what we're talking about specifically today, this is the problem. It's like, where do I get the images that I've created in my designs area? How do I get those images into this email? And Alana, to address it right here, we don't see the images or the graphics that we have created in designs available here.
We do not. No. So what we'll have to do in that case is we'll then need to make sure that we have them downloaded onto our computer so that we can, as Robert showed, can then upload them from that add images box.
So to expand that for 2 seconds, once you've created a design in Designs and you've decided that you want to use it in an email through this particular tool, you have to download it, store it on your hard drive, and then upload it to this email template.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why we're here, because it's a little funky.
Exactly. And now right now is a perfect time to drop one of my sizing numbers that you guys should write down somewhere. You should highlight, because I have found, and I create email headers, emails like this one for agents all the time. And I found the best size for doing a header image. So something like what you would see in the KWCLM news that comes out every morning. That one is slightly larger just because it shows more information. But if we just need small little header, you want to measure it 750 by 150 pixels. Okay, so 750 by 150 pixels.
How do I do that, Alana?
How do we do that? Well, let's exit out of here and let's go back into the designs dashboard. And I will show you how we're going to do that. So we're back to square one, okay? So this
Quite
is
literally,
where
we're back to Designs dashboard.
Yeah, so this is where we started once we clicked on design. So we're going to click create design, that unknown color. And this time, because we're not doing an email, we're creating an image for the email, but it's not specifically an email. So we want to make sure we click on social. Now, what's the difference between social, print? Not really much, because they both bring up the same, design tools that we can use. If anything, when you click on print, it's going to primarily bring up the print templates that are available to you. But since this is digital, it's an email, we're not printing it, it's safe to click on social. So let's click on that and click continue.
Okay. So you said a moment ago that they're similar. I think what I'm seeing here is that when we click on social or print, we're taken to this page that's loading right now. But depending on our initial choice, the first templates that we're going to see are based on that initial choice.
Exactly.
So
Yeah.
we're going to see the same templates overall, but we're going to be shown a set based on social or print based on our choice. And look at that, social, square.
Perfect.
There we go.
And that's what we asked for because we clicked on social. So from here, since we will be creating a custom sized graphic, meaning that Command doesn't already have one. They may have, email images already set up in the templates. I'm actually haven't looked into that. But since we're gonna again be creating our own custom size, we want to go to the My Designs at that top menu bar. And we want to start from blank. So what you see here, again, is like a dashboard of your current designs. So those are ones that Robert has already created. And a way that I like to organize it, clearly Robert does not have his organized. I like to create folders because just like your Google Drive, if you're just creating all these files and there's no organization, you're going to be extremely overwhelmed. So yeah, it's good to create some folders. You can drag and drop them into the folders, stuff and more stuff. So once we know what folder we want to create it in, after Robert's done organizing his life, we can go ahead and click start from blank. So what that is
So
going to
do I
do,
understand you to say that if I start from a particular folder, when I click start here from blank within that folder, that's where it's going to live, this new one? It's not going to go back into the main folder. It's going to put it in this one organized.
correct.
Very cool.
Yes. So we're going to, again, we want to do the custom size. So you want to click on that first option. However, Robert, if you just scroll a little bit, those are all of the pre-sized layouts, canvases that you can use. So as you see, there's Facebook, flyers, jumbo postcards. So if you have a size very specific, and you already know, oh, this fits a standard size postcard, just start typing in, Robert, let's type in postcard and see what comes up. And you can use that pre-sized canvas. See, so there's jumbo, large, portrait, postcard, and then standard. But
And when you
again,
hover, it actually tells you the dimensions in inches for that
exactly.
particular one.
Yeah, so it's extremely convenient. Let's say if it, you already know what size it is for a specific item. But since we have, again, a custom size, let's click custom size. And we want to make sure, see how there's all those little abbreviations at the bottom highlighted in those squares? That is telling us, what is this measuring in? So right now, we want it to be measured in pixels, but it's highlighted in inches. So pixels, inches, millimeters, and centimeters. Um, Honestly, from the design standpoint, the most important ones are pixels and inches. I don't think I've ever created anything that's measured in millimeters or centimeters. So those you
Nope.
can just completely block off from your brain.
Yep.
Um, and again, I said this is 750 by 150 pixels. Um, so this is going to be just a little banner image that we're going to create. So once we have that entered in, we want to click on create.
So just to come back a second, you said that this is the 750 by 150 represents the best size image for what again?
For an email header in your email template. So when you
Okay.
want to send out an email, whether it's through Smart Plans or just through a campaign, a one-time campaign, this is the size of canvas that I will use for mine, because I just find that it's not too large, it's not too small, but it's that perfect in between, so that if you want, you could put words on it and still have a background image to capture your audience's attention.
And the 750 represents the width of the object. So we're talking about a longer header like on the top of a web page. And the height represents how deep or how high the image is. So it's obviously much longer than it is high. So it creates that strip looking effect. Okay.
Mhm.
So I clicked on create. I didn't wait for Alana. I clicked on create. And so what happened? Where did we end up here?
So now we are in the actual design portal where we're going to create the actual design and the imaging and the wording. And so you see the canvas right there. So it does look like that little strip that you would see in an email header. Now, for the purposes of being able to show you guys as much as we can, let's just add in a quick image on that left-hand side. We'll do one from the workspace, or we could add one in as
Let's see.
well.
What do I
But
have here? You know what? Let's do workspace real quick. Um,
yep,
let's take this. Okay, so we're going to add this, and we're not necessarily super focused on this as a tool right now. We're focused on the usage of the tool. So we're
yep,
just going to do something a little bit kind of arbitrary here and quick for you. Okay.
yeah,
So we'll put
beautiful.
a title over here, and that title is going to be
Hey there, we are.
best bet to find your dream home. Okay. So
Awesome. Thank you, Robert. So obviously, once you put all your design elements, images, text in there, which again, think of it, it's header, don't want a lot, we're ready to download the image. Now, when we download it, this is another important thing that you might want to write down. We want to make sure that we download it in the right file, because as you know, as realtors, there's PDFs, which are typically the forms that you download. You might see PNGs, you might see JPEGs, you may see all these different types of files, but which is best for when we are putting something in an email header? We're going to want to download this as a PNG. Why a PNG? Because that is best for graphics such as this one. Let's say, yeah, a little ping file.
hey, Alana, quick
Um,
test. Quick test. PNG stands for
oh, I'm so bad at this stuff. I not good with the acronyms.
anyone? Anyone?
Pixel.
No.
Oh,
Portable
something.
portable network graphic.
Portable network graphic. That's it.
You knew that.
Yeah, I knew that. Sure.
Okay, that's
Um,
just the stupid trivia that I provide.
yeah, this is not marketing trivia. However, that would be fun. Marketing trivia.
Oh,
We might have to do that at the very end of March to
we'll
see
go
what
head to
people.
head with all the graphic designers out there and see if we can out graphic quiz some people.
Yeah. All right. So again, we
All right.
want to download PNG. There is that option for transparent background for this. You don't need to do that. However, PNG is the only file that will give you that transparent background. If you were to do a JPEG, you would not even have that option. And so with that in mind, if you do have something that has to be transparent, use that PNG. So let's go ahead and download it.
Before we do, I do see
Oh,
here
yes.
after the transparent, what is this image quality and should I worry about that?
Image quality, I typically don't worry about it because it's set at a level that will download the good quality of the image. So if you did see like you wanted it to be higher, it's not a big deal. You can always put it to the highest, but just know that when you do make that image quality higher, the file will be a bit larger. So that is something to keep in mind.
So back in the old days, when I started graphic design, we had to worry about the size of a file, even something this small, because the internet connections really were not very strong. So if you had a heavy file with a large file size, you ended up clogging up the pipe and you couldn't get it to download to somebody's computer. So it took forever for the graphics to load. And we all know about how long people will wait for something to load on their computer. But the reality is, the computers, the internet, the connections these days have gotten so fast, and the file sizes have improved because of the compression that they use, that this is not nearly as much of an issue as it used to be. So when you see this and you say to yourself, it will make it larger, or should I make it smaller? Your best bet is to just go ahead and slam it up and leave it the highest or whatever the defaults are, because the days of worrying about that really are kind of behind us.
Exactly. All right, so let's download that. And then once it is downloaded, that's when, yay, we can go all the way back and we can click that done button. Um, and we want to go back into that email and we want to
So
put that image in there.
one thing that just happened was I'm using Chrome, and we do recommend Chrome. You did notice that when it downloaded, it actually put that download in here in my toolbar at the bottom of the page. And I didn't close that and I didn't click on that image. I'm leaving that download bar at the bottom right there. The default is that it put in my downloads folder, but I'm going to show you something when we get to it about how to use that as a tool to get your image into where we're about to go. So where am I going, Alana?
Exactly. So now what we want to do is we want to, um, another good rule of thumb, and I'm thinking of this now, I should have mentioned it earlier, is you want to make sure that you name your files too. Because as you can see, we've got untitled design, untitled design. And as you can see, Robert is renaming it at the very moment by clicking the little 3 dots in that top right corner. Because this will cause less confusion.
Yeah,
So
it's hard
we
to find
either,
the untitled design among all the untitled designs.
yeah, exactly. Well, now, of course, there's no untitled designs except for that one. So, but typically, if you had already created that email design that we were just on, it would be popped up right here in your dashboard. If you need to create a new one, we'll click on that lovely bluish green button, and we'll click on email and continue. And it's going to bring us back to the templates where you can't see what it looks like. So
Useless.
we want to start from blank. And now we want to add in some elements. So let's add in that legal header. Or actually, let's hold off on the legal header for right now because we'll do a legal footer, which has all of our necessary compliant things that we need. And let's put the image at the very top. And we are gonna want to add our own image. And now this is what Robert was starting to talk about. How from this moment you could either click directly on that cloud, which for this case I wouldn't recommend doing because there's an easier way, or you can drag and drop. So you're gonna want to drag that untitled design PNG and drop it into that box.
Did you guys see that? I didn't have to click any buttons because I left the download visible in the corner. And all I did was take it from the corner and I dragged it onto the box. And the system thinks that it was just another dragging from your desktop kind of thing. So now we see it. Now here, Alana, were you going to talk about this?
I was.
Okay, go ahead.
Because as of right now, you can't click save. It's not even an option. So, and you're like, but I just uploaded my photo. So why is it not just automatically popping up? Because you need to select that photo. Because let's say I uploaded multiple. So you need to select the one you actually want to put into your email. So once you've clicked it, as Robert did, you want to click on save. And there it is.
And look at the sizing.
And
It just right. It's not all the way to the corners or the edges of this thing. And it looks like it's fitting well with what we have as the footer here. So proportionally, it looks right. And that's because Alana gave us the right size for this type of object.
yes. And remember that right size. If you have a pen and paper and haven't written it down yet, it is 750 by 150 pixels. Okay. I really need to create a cheat sheet for you guys. I will put that
Good
on my
idea.
list of things to do.
Tell us how you really feel, Sharon.
Oh, wonderful. All right. So now that we have that, we can save this because we've put in everything that we wanted to. And
Before
let's
we
make
do
sure
that,
we name
though,
it.
we're going to put a name in here in the top
Yes, we
left.
can.
My cool email. And
I love the all caps.
it's funny. It's stuck on from all the work I've been doing on this stuff. So that's bad. Name your files, like Alana said. It's so important because the last thing you want to do is go, what is this? Which one am I looking at? Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and save this. All right. So now that we've done
it's saved. Yep, we can click
Go ahead.
out of there. No, I was just gonna say it's saved, but it didn't exit out of the page. And that's something important to keep in mind. You might be like, oh, well, is it saved yet? Is it saved yet? Well, we saw that turquoise little thing pop up on our screen, and in fact, it did save.
It did. And I'm going to put my little image as my image in there. So I have a thumbnail for it.
Wonderful.
Okay, so let's talk about what we're actually seeing here because there's two things going on. One is we created the graphic and we did that as, if you recall, we did it as a social graphic, but we did custom size. And when we saved that graphic, we then added that graphic to an email. But what we're seeing in our designs folder, our designs area, is two images, but they're not images. One, as evidenced by the icon down in the lower left-hand corner, indicates that this is a social graphic that was created. That's the little thumbs up, right? The little like symbol. Whereas the one here is actually an email. It's not a graphic, it's an email. So it's an email template, and then we have a social. And over here, if you look at this one's even different. This one is got a different icon, and down here we've got an email. So you can actually see what kind of templates they are because they're all essentially designs. They're not broken out. We could change it and say, show me all of my emails using a filter and say, okay, now here's all my email designs. Or we could filter it again and say, show me all of my social. But keep that in mind that the reason for this class is because there's that confusion. It's like, well, so you're telling me I got to create a design, and then I got to put the design in the email, then they use the email in the campaign. That's exactly what's going on. Is we're showing you the difference between these objects and where they come into play.
Okay.
Great. It's very helpful, Robert. Wonderful. So now you guys know how to put the image in the email rather than sending an image directly in it, like as an email, because that's not possible.
It's not possible. That's
not.
the key.
Yeah. So now that we have that, Robert, do we want to show them how to get that campaign started, or do we want to focus then on the direct mail campaigns too? Because I know we have a few other things
let's do a real quick version of the look at us, we're moving all over the screen here. Sorry, guys. Oh, there we go. Stop moving. Okay. Let's focus on the campaign real quick first, because again, we're going to show it kind of pass through the stages, and then we're going to come back and take a look at the print one.
Awesome. All right. Yes. So let's go to campaigns then.
All right. We're going to campaigns, you guys. We're not going to smart plans. Okay. We're going to campaigns. So before Alana gets going on to this next section, a little pop quiz for you. We just created two things. We created a graphic in a social format, and we created an email using that graphic. On this dashboard, where can I use the social post graphic that I just made?
Where's the social posts?
Can I use it on direct mail?
No, just emails.
I can't use that graphic in an email? Can I do that?
You can use it in an email and you can use it on a social post. But is it even big enough to use on a print? It's not big enough.
Size isn't the thing.
Okay.
So Alana gave you the answer a moment ago. She said we can't use the graphic in the email campaign because the email campaign needs an email template, right? But we can use the graphic in the email template. So we had to go back 2 stages to create the graphic first, then the email, and then we could use it in the email campaign. But because we created a social image, we could directly use it here. And in the direct mail area, Alana, can I use that graphic as I build my direct mail object?
No, the direct mail is extremely, extremely specific on the type and the size of that image that you're going to use, which for that it will be PDF because we
Okay.
are printing.
Can I use that graphic in the paid ads in my Facebook ad?
So the one that specifically we created, no. Can you use a social graphic in the paid ads? Yes.
And that's because of size.
Yes, that is because of size.
Excellent. Lots of little subtleties here, you guys. So what she said was in the paid ads area, the specific one that we created, which was long and narrow, we can't because it's too big, right? But if we had created the proper size graphic in the social area for a paid ad, we could. So it's kind of that it depends kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Alana, back to you.
Awesome. So let's create our email campaign. So what we can do is we can click on emails and see already existing ones. This dashboard of email campaigns might be empty if you have not sent one yet. And just real quick overview, it's showing you what was sent in the past 30 days. It is showing you the recipients, who it was sent to, how many people opened, and how many people clicked on it. And so these numbers are really good to look at real quick, just to get a good idea of how your email campaigns are performing. I love email campaigns, so I always look at my reports, and I'm quite nerdy about it, but I love it. So what we want to do is we want to click Create Campaign in that beautiful blue button.
Yeah, I'm going green. I'm gonna be on team green.
Okay, we'll see how many. We'll find out. Anyway, so then it brings up this pop-up, and it gives you different options. And again, email. So we want to click on email because this is an email campaign.
So why then, Alana, when I clicked on campaign in the emails area, did it give me all of these choices?
Why? Because that's how Command created it. So even if you were just on the basic campaigns dashboard and you clicked on Create Campaign, it's going to give you those same options.
Yep.
If you go to the paid ads and you're thinking, oh, I really want to create an email campaign, you can still create an email campaign directly from there. So it really doesn't matter where you go to create it as long as you click that blue button.
That's it. So all of the different dashboards within the campaigns area, this button really doesn't know or care which one you clicked. So when we click it, we want to create an email. So following Alana's directions now.
Awesome. And then enter campaign name. For this one, we can just do test or I'm cool or something. Ah, thank you, Robert. Wow, how kind. And let's just do a brand awareness one for right now. And let's scroll down. And what it's saying is, where is this campaign going to run? Now, if you have linked your MailChimp account, if you have one to Command, you can choose that option. But I recommend, as always, keeping all of your communications into one flowing system. And that one flowing system is Command. So let's try to keep everything in Command because your life will be much easier. I can promise you that. So create campaign. All right, so now here it's asking you to fill out a whole bunch of information. On the right-hand side, it gives you the option to select design. So we're going to click on that first, and we're going to select that design that we just created, which you have labeled as My Cool Email.
So notice here, you guys, this is why I get the phone calls, because I'll get a call that says, Robert, something's wrong. I created a graphic for my email, and I went to create my email campaign, and my graphic is not showing up. And I showed you those icons a moment ago, and I showed you that this represents an email icon, and I showed you the thumbs up represents a social or just a graphic. Notice that I didn't filter anything here, but none of the graphics are showing up because this email designer that we're now building in the campaigns can only see the email designs. It doesn't see any of the graphics. So we don't have two anymore. We have one. It's the only one to choose. And that's why we get the calls.
Exactly. So let's go ahead and choose that one. And what it's doing right now is it's allowing you to edit the email design that you did before actually using it in the campaign. So yeah, we forgot to add our main body text. And okay. Go home. Well, yeah, because you'll be talking to your buyers and telling them to go home and go find their home, right? Go home.
That sounds a little weird, but it's kind of on point. It's on brand.
Yeah. Okay. We're gonna just click done.
It's on brand. It's totally on brand.
Yeah. Okay. So just a quick note, what Robert just did was he clicked on save and exit before clicking done out of that text box. So it actually didn't save the text that he typed up. So just remember, whenever you are, designing something, before you exit out of it, always make sure you click done and click on save.
So to kind of go back and show you where the mistake was, when I put go home in here, instead of clicking this done button, a lot of people will think, well, okay, so I've done my typing, so I'm going to save and exit. And what Alana's telling you is I failed to click done to commit this change to the actual box. So I'll click done. Now the go home is over here, and now I can save and exit. And that will clean up that mistake.
Absolutely. Great. So again, on that left-hand side, it's going to give you all those options to just fill out all of the information. But the most important thing is that we got that graphic that we wanted into that email design so that we can then send that email, and it's compliant, out to our audience. And we can edit the text as well, as you just saw Robert do. So this covers the sizing email portion that we wanted to cover. And now I know, Robert, that the clock is ticking. But I really would like to just show you guys and have you guys just at least take note of the direct mail, because I get a lot of questions in regards to the direct mail campaign with the sizing of that. So Robert, can we first click on campaigns and go back to that dashboard? Yep. So you'll want to save.
Sorry, Kelly?
I said, I just wanted to ask if Alana, you can touch on too in Smart Plans, how our Twilio accounts are connected to that, because I was setting up some the other day and it kept asking me, and it kept telling me my Twilio account wasn't connected. And I think it's because I'm on a team now, and I was having an issue with that.
So here's what we're going to do. Kelly, we talked about that briefly at the end of the last one. At the end of this session, before we actually hang up, stick around, because now that you just said that kind of goes into a little bit of a different area from what we're here. And I want to take a moment to explain. So stay on the line afterwards, okay?
Awesome. Great question, Kelly. So now we are back in our create campaign. So we're going to, we are back and we want to create a campaign. And this time we want to do a direct mail.
So should I click here or should I just click here?
I would recommend just click the button, because either way, it's going to pop up with the same options as we addressed earlier. So let's
click.
Let's click direct mail. And we'll just call this direct click. Clicky. Brand awareness, scroll down and create campaign. Oh. Yep. Okay. I really don't understand why you did.
Kelly was telling me to slow down Mr. Clicky. So Mr. Clicky is now going to be part of the day.
All right, so let's click the beautiful blue button, Mr. Clicky. And what I want to do first off is show you, let's click on content, okay? And let's click, so, all right, here's what we see. You can either use a template or you can upload your own. 9 times out of 10, you want to upload your own. So you're
Why
going to
is
click
that? Why is that?
Why is that? Because oftentimes when you use the templates, they are not branded to your individual brand. It's great because they've got all the KW info, colors, fonts, branding. But when you are sending these things out, you want to make sure you're making a name and an image and a brand look around yourself and your business. So that's why I always recommend upload your own design. If you need something created, I can help you with that. But I want you guys to take a look at this little box right here. This is going to be your guide. The little box that says card size, height and width, in pixels and in images. These are things that you want to make sure you have drilled in your head, because and feel free to print them out, write them down, because when we go to make designs, we are going to want to create it as a compact card. So the 4 by 6 inches, for example. And then it tells you what it'll end up being because it wants you to download it with the bleed. And a lot of people ask me, well, what is bleed? For printing companies, they like the ink to bleed, so to say, some of the design elements to bleed, so that when they cut the design, in case things should get shifted in printing, it'll make sure it still includes all the elements that you want to have in your design. So it is very crucial that you include the bleed, which they make it a requirement here. Okay, so Robert, now let's go to designs and let's actually create a 4 by 6 postcard in inches and download it with the bleed.
So we're going to be using a print one this time.
Yes, we're using print.
So when we come into print, we're going to see some print size designs here. But because we want it specifically the way we want it, we're not going to use anything here. We're going to go do, like Alana said the first time, we're going to go to My Designs, and if necessary, select the folder where you want them to be. I'll just put them in my main junkyard here. We're going to click Start, Custom Design again. I know I'm probably clicking way too fast for Kelly. So,
and now at this step, let's be in inches.
So this is what she was saying before. Normally, pixels and inches are normal. We use these two things. Centimeters and millimeters, we were not. But we saw on that other page we needed inches. What was the dimensions?
6 width, height. Well, yes. So with the bleed, this is where it gets a little bit rocky. So with the bleed, which is a requirement, it's going to be 6.25. And then with the height, it's going to be 4.25. And this is going to be the proper sizing for the 4 by 6 card, including the bleed. That's why we measured it out even more. Okay. So let's create that. Beautiful. So now we could just drop in an image, make it the background. We could just do a single image. We'll keep it simple for you guys.
So one of the things that you need to know about this bleed concept is you might be thinking to yourself, well, should I put it so that it doesn't reach the corners? Because I've got that quarter or actually a 1/16 of an inch or 1/8 of an inch, I guess, on each side. So the answer is go ahead and fill up the whole space, as long as it doesn't cut off part of the image that you're actually trying to show. So make sure that you go to the edge of this extra little sized object, and even in this case here, going right to the edge, I'm not going to disproportionately kind of pull it off here, but if in this case this image isn't the same ratio, but you can pull it off the edge so that it kind of fits, and then find the fit, if you will, that kind of works for you. But the image itself is filling all the way through the bleed, and that's what she was talking about. We're covering up the edges so that if they have to cut it and it's a little off, it's not going to turn white, or you're not going to miss part of the image.
Exactly. Spot on. So now that we have our image, let's click download, and we want to download it as PDF for printing, okay? Because that's going to give us the best quality for our postcards that we're going to be ordering and printing. So
Different
PDF
from
for
PNG. It starts with a P. This one is a PDF, and it stands for
print.
no.
No. Portable.
Nope.
Oh, I
Yes,
don't know.
it is portable.
Oh.
You're halfway there. Portable document format.
Boom, there it is.
I'm such a nerd.
Yeah. So what we're going to do, actually, Robert, for this one, we will not need to include the bleed because it's already included in the design. This might get a little confusing, so you can honestly just like either listen to it or not. But say you forgot to measure it as 4.25 by 6.25, and you only did 4 by 6. That's okay, because if you were to check mark that include bleed, that would still make your file the correct proper size for command. Okay. But again, as I said, we have the canvas that is large enough, so we do not need to check that box. Let's download it.
Is that box included every time? That was there before that showed the sizes? That showed you that bleed area? Is that always on there?
Yeah, when you click show bleed, it will show you those dotted lines. Is that what you're talking about?
No, I'm talking about when we were at the beginning, when it gave you the
Oh,
little
showing
box.
that the sizes, all the different sizes.
Yeah.
Yes, that is always going to be there. Yep. So
And does
that's
it
your
say
guide.
and did it say in that guide that you were to go to, is it always 2.5 over whatever it is to create the bleed? I missed that
Yep.
part. I didn't see what it said. So are you telling us that it's always 0.25 to go over, or does that little guide give us what we need to do to account for the bleed?
So that is, I mean, they give it to you in that little box that we saw, so you go by that, and typically it is that measurement. And as you saw when Robert clicked include bleed, it already had a set size for it, and that is the default. That is what will always remain the same. And now, in the case you're working with a different company and they ask for something larger or smaller, you can adjust it, but you won't have to.
The key here is that if you created the design using the template that required 6 1/4 had bleed built in, it's for the way that command does it. So it's automatic. It knows what it needs. If you're going to do something and you're going to print on a third party outside of command, you'll want to get the bleed information from them and then size it accordingly here.
Right, but if we're using this, then that's always there. And
That's always going to be there.
Didn't put it in, then it's going to ask you again. So it does kind of repeat that same thing. Like if you forgot, like Alana said, it's going to ask you again.
Yeah. Okay.
Just to clear up, we can just still pay you to do this, right, Alana?
Absolutely. Yeah, because I know there's a lot of steps, and when you're doing something like this, you want to make sure that you do it correctly so you're not wasting lots of time and energy on it. So I am here for anyone who needs assistance. So Robert, let's click done and let's get out of here because we do have our PDF downloaded. And once again, we're going to do that lovely drag and drop trick. So let's go back to campaigns. And when we see our dashboard, we'll click the lovely blue button. Or we won't, Mr. Clicky will.
Oh, that's going to stick.
If you want to do direct mail, and then we'll name it. This is where the fun's at. Clickety click click. Wonderful. So now let's click on content, upload design, and Kelly, see, this is where you have that guide. So if there's ever any hesitancy, in the case that you are creating one, you can see all the dimensions there that you need. So let's drag and drop that right where it says front. And we'll wait.
Waiting patiently. Whoopie doopie doo.
Okay, so what we want to do
Did I
is
have the wrong one?
we want to resize it 4 by 6. Let's try that again because I thought that we did.
And I think that so it's trying to say that the default here. Well, I'll tell you what. To make this easier on myself, I'm going to open up the pre-made design so that we can finish it out and show it.
Yeah.
So I'll do a 4 by 6, and there we go. Okay. So this is showing us the PDF as uploaded, and I've uploaded one that is specifically tailored to that size. So now you see it kind of dialed in there and locked in. Okay.
Awesome. Yeah, so what it did actually, because I'm thinking about it now, is the file itself, and this is like for a future thing, we can make it that 4 by 6 and just include the bleed. And then that will also work.
Yeah.
And if you do really want to get like super specific, you could do the pixels, but the inches will work.
Okay. And notice that it's specifically identified the file that we brought in. It knew, and it put a checkbox here saying it's 4 by 6.
Yep. So if you uploaded it and you wanted it to be a larger one, then just go back to your designs and make sure that you
Okay.
put in those correct dimensions. And so, of course, if you have a backside, you're going to put that there as well. But this is just that little box that we showed you earlier that's the guide that you're going to want to use. And so, when you are on command, whether it's today or tomorrow, you can absolutely take a screenshot of that, write those down, put it on a sticky note, because you'll want to use those dimensions.
Yep. Okay, you guys, we're going to have to wrap this up. There are other people trying to get some things going here today. So what I'm going to do is, Kelly, I got a real quick thing that just popped up that I have to take care of. Can I meet you back in this room at 4:30? No? Okay. Let's connect. All right.
Oh, yeah. I'll just put it in there. Don't worry about it. I have another thing I have to go to as well. So it's
Okay.
fine.
We'll connect.
Thank
For
you,
everybody
guys.
else,
Great.
we're going to go ahead and lock it down here for now. I want to give a huge thanks to Alana for joining us today, taking the time out of her day to come and join us and provide us with her expertise. Thank you very much. For everybody else, there's a lot to think about here. This video is available, of course, on YouTube. It's available on the Facebook channel, and it's also available in the Learning Management Plus everywhere else. So get in touch with me if you want to review this video again. I can actually get you a link to it so that you can slow it down and not, Mr. Clicky got a little bit carried away here. So make sure that you slow it down and watch it. And there's some really good stuff in here. So go back through it, write some of the valuable information down. If you have any questions on the things that we've discussed here today, please feel free to reach out to me. I'm going to let you all go. Have an awesome day, and we'll talk to you all soon.
All right. Thanks, Robert. And if you guys do need more marketing help, timewithbabs.com. Don't
All right,
forget it.
take care, you guys.
Bye, guys.